prepared we are.
There we go. We're good.
We're live right now?
Live video starting.
Well, you let me know when we're ready.
Yeah.
And there we go. Yeah.
All right, we are live. A little different than what we've been doing because now we're back in person for the first time in
almost a year.
Yeah.
I think it was December. We shut her down last year.
I think last year we...
in Turkey Bowl. That was the last one, I think.
Yeah, so our last episode was at Joe Cool's.
Yeah.
So, nice to see you guys in person again.
Welcome back.
The sound's okay. I just pulled it up on mine here.
That's good.
Yeah, so we got a lot to talk about. We actually had a guest that was coming on with us, but he took a little bit ill, so you're gonna be stuck with the three of us. We're gonna talk a little bit of football, but let's just throw it around, boys. How we doing? How we feeling? We're back in person here. Feels good.
Feeling good, man. Yeah, it's nice to be back. Nice to be back behind the bar again.
I'm gonna share this on Facebook. Just hold on a second.
Yeah, do your thing, Chase.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be back in person. It's kind of like we were talking about before we came on, like, we're actually going to find social cues again.
Yeah.
And I still promise I'm going to cut everybody off, so it doesn't make a difference that way.
Perfect.
But I think it's just nice to be back and actually having conversations with not just my computer screen.
Yeah.
I felt like I was just playing Madden all over again as a child, just yelling at the screen.
There we go. Well, now that we're back in person, the first stop that we made on our way here was over to our friends over at Joe Cool's. Hooked us up with a nice kitchen sink pizza, a couple six-packs. We are ready to go. Lots to talk about. The first thing we were going to talk about was where's Odell going. We already know where that's going.
I tried my best to make him hold off for us, guys.
We're going to break down a couple. We're going to break down a couple of games that have a little bit of significance, and then a little bit of college football playoffs to tie things together here. Our camera's a little shaky because Liam has a little action going on over there. Jeez.
Jesus Christ, yeah.
Tough break. Okay, well, if you need to, Liam, those things tighten it up. This is just rookies all over the place here. Anyway, boys.
First day back, you know?
Odell Beckham is on the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
So we thought the Seahawks. We thought the Patriots.
Here we go. We got
The rich get richer. As if they really need
Packers.
Yeah, the Packers, I mean, it's just another reason why Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to be there. They got a player who said that the number one team he wanted to play for was the Packers. They don't really necessarily have a need at wide receiver, but, like, you know, Aaron Rodgers would like to have another one. He's going to go head-to-head probably with your guys.
The Rams had no reason to get another one.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah.
So, again, the rich just got richer. This could have been something that I think A-Rod would have loved to have around. But unfortunately, I know he goes to the Rams. It's nice to see that we beat him, at least. We got that out of the way.
Well, yeah, that's out of the way. That whole circus is over with. But is this really the best thing for the Rams, I guess, is the question. The name is there. I can feel Chad seething to get this out there, but is this the best thing for Matt Stafford?
Because everybody's saying that they built this, like, the Bucs built a super team. AKA, our producer called me on that today.
Yeah.
First off, we built the majority of our team through our draft. Gronk's washed up, AB's done, so don't give me that BS. That defense was built in the draft.
Yeah.
So that's enough out of that. That's my argument there. But I just don't know if there's enough balls to go around now in LA. Because, like, he's not going to take from Cooper Kupp. Robert Woods is still going to get his. So that means Van Jefferson's probably the odd man out there.
You would think so, yeah.
Like, that's just... And, like, dollar-wise, it makes sense that Van Jefferson's the odd man out.
Yeah.
But how long is it going to be before Odell starts tweeting again, his dad starts tweeting again and sending out photos? Like, what was in the contract? Was it like your dad turns in his cell phone, like he's cut off the family plan? Like, how does this go? Like, sorry, Dad, you're on your own now. Like, I'm not fronting your bills. Like, if you fuck this one up for me, like, you're not going anywhere else.
Well, there's our first tally. Chad is officially sworn for our first episode back.
Yeah.
That's good news. Hey, no, we have not broken stride yet.
No.
I appreciate it.
I don't think this is really a problem for them. Like, they don't really have anything to lose here, really, right? Like, they got a guy who's paid next to nothing. We don't really know what the deal of the contract is yet, but it's probably next to nothing. In the grand scheme of things, it's a one-year deal. They'll cut him if he's going to give him any problems. But I think he's going to bring something. He's going to a 7-1 or 7-2 team now. Like, he's obviously happy, right? He's one of the strongest teams in the NFC. The NFC is a strong conference. He's going to get to play against contenders. And it's a team that wants him. Like, Jalen Ramsey, speaker called him this morning with the entire team in the locker room to make the final pitch. I don't think I heard anything about the Packers doing that. So Everybody there on the team wants him. I don't think this is anything for them to lose. They just get a little bit stronger. And as far as the ball's going around, like, I think that Odell is I hope at this point, going to a team like that, he's okay taking a little bit of a back seat. It could have gone the other way. I know I'll come back to the Titans. The Titans cut Josh Reynolds after he requested to get a release, and where did he end up? In Detroit. The worst team in the league. He went from the best in the AFC to the worst in the whole entire league. So that could have been much worse for Odell, right?
Well, I think there was just Josh Reynolds probably needs money, and Odell doesn't. So he had to take the first job that came at him.
Yeah.
Josh Reynolds was also claimed by the Rams.
They tried to.
They tried. But, yeah, I mean, the Lions got him. Think how bitter that would be. Like, what a bitter pill to swallow.
Well, you asked for your release, man. I mean, that's what you get, right? Go and enjoy the sunset.
I don't know if he thought he was going to get the Odell treatment, but yeah, you're not on that level, pal. And
no.
It's too bad because I thought that he would be a decent piece for you guys.
Yeah.
But it seemed like that guy with the hyphenated last name is the guy that's getting the balls, right? What's it?
Westbrook Akeen.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not sure why he decided to hyphenate his last name, but we're not going to judge him for it. It is what it is. Almost overshadowing it, a bigger news. It's not going to be on your sheet in front of you.
Uh-oh.
Where is your sheet, by the way?
Right here.
Yeah, we're prepared this time. We don't just have whiteboards. We have sheets.
Tis a year. We got that.
Cam Newton signs back with the Panthers.
Yeah.
And it looks, from whatever we can tell, the deal is worth up to $10 million this year, which is nuts.
Mm-hmm.
They've already come out. PJ Walker is definitely the starting quarterback this week.
Yeah.
But what does this mean for Cam 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now? I'm assuming this means that...
When's their bye week?
Well, and you know what? I was going to look it up, but...
I think it's late. I want to say it's between 11 and 13. I only know that because the Dreamwide in our fantasy football league has him. He was trying to figure out CMC's schedule.
Right.
So my whole thing is where, to me, Cam has to be starting next week.
Yeah.
There's no way, because you didn't pay him $4.5 million to play 4 games.
Right.
How much of a reach is this, though, guys? You guys know that I haven't been a fan of Cam Newton now for 2 years. He did nothing last year in New England at all.
I don't think anybody's a fan of his.
And, is this the ownership trying to buy fans back at this point? Like, the fans that were really all in on Cam when he got pushed out of Carolina the first time? I just don't see what he's not going to bring enough to win the NFC South.
Well, they're not selling out seats, right?
Yeah.
So you bring in a guy like Cam Newton, your merchandise sales go back up. You're probably going to sell out a couple games, and all of a sudden his salary gets paid right there.
It's nostalgia, right?
It's got to be. It's all it is.
Yeah, I mean...
And then the Patriots, again, they get more help. They get more cap room now as a result. So.
Yeah. And, I mean, this is the kind of thing... But it's actually a pretty smart move by the Panthers because if they don't make the playoffs, then they're in the same position they are right now because P.J. Walker is not taking them to the playoffs. If they do make it, it's a cute story. At this point, play for a draft pick. Clearly, you need a quarterback. We wanted Sam Darnold to be the guy. He was the guy for 3 weeks. It's not going to work out.
Yeah.
Crack shoulder, no crack shoulder. The guy stinks.
He's not there.
Yeah.
When he's getting chewed out on the sideline by Robbie Anderson the way that he was, that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
You just don't get chewed out like that.
You know what? That defense is far too good, and they deserve better. And
you're getting cheated by a second-rate receiver.
Yeah. If they can get CMC fully healthy and Chuba Hubbard running the ball effectively, they're a dangerous team in the playoffs. So I think that NFC teams wouldn't want them. But as I was telling Liam on the drive over here, the Super Bowl is going through the NFC. The super teams are all in the... You guys got Julio Jones, and that was wow, that is a huge move. That's a big 1 and 2 receiver.
Mm-hmm.
But they just got Odell Beckham and Von Miller. So
yeah,
some would argue that that's just the 2015 Pro Bowl team. But they made the Pro Bowl for a reason. The talent is still there.
Sure. Now, that being said, you haven't had exactly the best of things to say about Odell but since he's been in Cleveland. So now just suddenly,
No.
But you're not going to say that. You're telling me we all have had different thoughts on Baker Mayfield, and I'm on his side.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield is not Matt Stafford.
Sure. No.
Sure.
And it's not even close. And Stafford's the guy that can throw the ball. We said this the whole time. It's not that Baker doesn't have a big arm. He doesn't have a strong arm.
Right.
Odell needs to stretch the field. Baker's ball gets too long to get there.
Yeah.
Matt can do that all day long. So he's going to get his shots, hopefully. And...
Right, yeah, and I agree. And I think, for a guy like Baker, he is a game-managing point guard. So he can spread the ball around and not have to worry about throwing it to Odell. They actually targeted wide receivers more in that game than any other game previous this season, which is hilarious.
Which is definitely a massive fuck you. That was done on purpose.
Yeah, I mean, that is hilarious, unreal stat. But for Odell to go there, he can still get open in single coverage. I'm not sure if he's the guy that draws double coverage, but you got Cooper Kupp drawing double coverage away from you. You're in a passing offense. Robert Woods is no slouch. I mean, I think most teams would take him as their one. And who's the Tyler Higbee? The run game's there. If the Bucs get Antonio Brown back and the Rams are continuing to be what we are assuming they are going to be, the NFC Championship game is going to be awesome.
I wore this shirt for a reason today.
Yeah,
I don't forget about us. Don't forget about a guy named TB12. When our backs are against the wall, that guy's going to get it done.
Yeah, are you talking about Terry Bradshaw?
Don't even start on that loser.
Well, let's pivot for a second and talk about. We're counting down to kickoff right now. Dolphins and Ravens. Nobody cares about this game unless you have money on it. Luckily for all of us, we do because we're degenerate gamblers with our friends over at CoolBet. Kalen's rocking the sweater today because he did it and we were in person. I didn't want it to be weird, so I didn't put mine on.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's there. Liam, if you got a sec, do you mind dropping our same game parlay inside of the chat?
For sure.
Chad actually had one too, and I couldn't find it to put it on there. That's why I built another one. Liam's gonna have to be careful because the microphone's shaking. But
I got one here.
Yeah. All right. Chad's got one, so you fire it up. Liam will drop another one in the chat.
I got Lamar 2 passing touchdowns.
Okay. Check.
Lamar over 200 yards passing.
Check. That's a bad passing defense there.
Yeah. Lamar under 90 yards rushing.
Cool. That's a bad rushing defense too, but hey, I'm
there's no way he's going to rush for 90.
Hey,
I wondered if you were going to play devil's advocate here. Some of these bets so far, I don't know if you're down with them.
Oh, I went heavy Ravens. I was the first to admit it.
That's the first thing I said. It was like, wow, you're all over the Ravens.
Yeah. I got Andrews over 34.5 receiving.
Okay.
And then Hollywood Brown over 60. So I don't feel like I'm stretching.
That's one pass, basically.
That's what I mean, right? For both of those
it.
two guys, like Mark Andrews gets a couple catches, he's over. Mm-hmm. Hollywood can go have us anytime.
Fantasy.
And then at the end of the day, like, I think Lamar is going to throw because I think for him to become the MVP and to win, he can't do it with his legs.
Right, okay, yeah.
And they can't risk him getting hit. So I want to say I went under on the rushing yards, and I'll admit, I went soft. I went the coverage yard. I took the highest eligible yards rushing on him and went underneath it. But yeah, no, I got plus 350 on that.
Not bad.
Yeah, I like it. The one that Liam just dropped into the chat here is a plus 700. I think you only put part of it, though.
Yeah, I'm updating.
Yeah, hey, the rest is coming. But while Liam's updating it, definitely check that out. Check out our friends at CoolBet because we'll double your deposit. We'll send you a $25 gift card. Couple games to see how we're going to be betting cool this weekend on. Because last weekend wasn't good. We already talked about how shitty that was for us. Raiders and Chiefs, Sunday Night Football. The Chiefs team is really struggling. The Raiders team
really struggled last week.
The Raiders have bigger problems in football in their locker room, and they need to sort it out. They've lost their last 2 first-round draft picks in the last 10 days, 12 days.
Their entire 2020 draft is gone. Nobody's there.
And essentially, I think it was you that told me the other day, it was the Khalil Mack trade right now is literally just Khalil Mack straight up for Josh Jacobs.
That was me.
Okay. So, yeah, I remember talking to one of you guys about it, but this is obviously an important game for both teams, but who is it more important for, and where do you see it going? You don't have to make a pick because we still have our pick-up thing, and you're getting crushed, by the way, but...
So I think it's really important for the Chiefs to win this game because the Chiefs, if they lose to a team like the Raiders with all that they're going through, a team that just won a Super Bowl 2 years ago, that's a very telling sign to where the direction of where this team is going.
Right.
I think the Raiders, I mean, I don't say they have a scapegoat, but they certainly have something that people will look the other way and say, a loss in this time right now, we understand what the hell's going on over there. So, yeah, this is the Chiefs have got to win. Unfortunately, it's a division game, and it's going to make it look hard for them. If this was any other team going through this that wasn't a division opponent, I mean, it would be as tough, but they certainly do have to pull the trigger tonight. So,
well, and when it comes down, I mean, the Chiefs have looked awful. The Raiders, I really had them on my side for the Giants game last week. I just assumed they were going to power through. I assumed something was going to go right for them. It just seems like Lady Luck is probably not on their side. Football related wise, and the loss of a coach, they bounced back, but now you're starting to get there's too many distractions there. I think that the Raiders are going to fall off and fall off fast.
Yeah, I can see that. It's upsetting because I really love Derek Carr, and I think he's such a great leader.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, he's a great leader from week 1 to 14, and then he breaks his thumb or his hand.
He hasn't even been hurt that much.
Or
I know Chad said that the last show.
Puts his mascara brush into his eyeball.
Stop. He had like 2 rough years.
I drafted that guy in probably 3 of my last 5 fantasy football drafts with high hopes of him. Yeah. And every year, he just lets me down and breaks my heart slowly.
Yeah.
I just think for like going into this week, kind of like what you said, the Chiefs have to win this game.
Yeah.
Like, the Raiders have a hall pass literally the rest of the year. With the shit that's going on there, no one's going to hold it against them. Like, if they could finish out 500 the rest of the way, that's a winning season for them with everything they've gone through.
Yep.
The Chiefs, on the other hand, they were a favorite to win the Super Bowl going into this season on many gambling sites, not just like on their own personal opinions.
Yep.
It's just one of those things where their defense hasn't performed. They gave up a lot of offensive line help, which blew my mind because they lost that Super Bowl because of the offensive line. And I understand you were missing 2 starting tackles and a guard then, but you never replaced what you had.
Right.
If anything, I think you downgraded. And now that you're asking Patrick Mahomes, because you can't pay anybody to win these games, the poor guy's running out there for his life. And he's had the most turnovers. He has the most turnovers in the league now, or 1 or 2.
Don't shame that. He's one behind Joe Burrow.
So he's 1B, we'll say.
Yeah.
And you're asking this guy to do a whole lot, and they have no running game to help him. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they need to get some wins and get a divisional win to get this thing rolling.
Yeah. And, you know, like, at least Sunday Night Football's got a little bit of intrigue.
Yeah, but the Raiders, one other thing I've been reading a lot lately in the last week or so is that it's come out that Gruden was in charge of the personnel and the first top 3 first rounds of the draft. Okay. Anything beyond the 4, 5, and 6, and 7 was all Mayock apparently. And if you look at their draft, like they actually have like late round players that have actually kind of shown up. Whereas the first round has all been crap. So
you mean the guy that was a long-term college scout got good players?
Yeah, I mean
that's crazy how that works out.
Also, I mean, like when you watch the draft shows, like they've been horrible the last couple of weeks. Like those pre-draft rankings and some that have come out, they've been nowhere near where the kids have landed. Mayock could usually predict at least the top 15 sometimes. So
right, right, yeah, and you know another big game. We talked up the Browns a little bit on Monday. Naturally, their offense performed better without OBJ. Even though it's a little bit contradictory, I get what you're saying, based on what we're saying for the Rams. But they're playing the Patriots this week. And this one's actually tied to our Super Boost this week, which probably will go up on Friday or Saturday. But I'm going to give it to you really quick here. We don't have the odds yet, but I was talking to Pat about it today. Cowboys and Bucks -3.5. The Browns and Patriots under 49.5. And the Titans and Saints over 40.5. Now, I'm going to say that's about a 5-1 payout. So I'm feeling pretty strong about that, but I want to know how you're feeling about the Browns and Patriots this week. And I'm probably going to get stuck watching it because my in-laws are going to be here and they're Patriots fans.
Oh, wow.
That sucks. Sorry, man.
Hey.
It's going to be a fun game. You got 2 teams that are really, they need to get some wins so they start stacking some wins. Yeah. The Patriots are looking stronger and stronger. Man, the problem with Mac is that he's facing a very tough pass rush. And Brian Burns put him on notice today and said, I hope all of my pass rushers eat and remember what happened to me.
Yikes.
So Mac Jones has got a big target on his back right now. That's scary for him. But they're playing really, really good. And it's in New England, I think, right? I'm pretty sure it's in New England.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. And, like, how do you guys feel about the under?
I like it.
45, yeah.
I don't think it's going to be like a sore-out game. I don't expect any of the New England games to be like that anymore. And I think that Bill can stop Baker.
I'm not sure either team has a running back to play.
Yeah, Stevenson's got a concussion, right? I think.
And so does Harris.
Oh, does he really? Yeah. Wow.
And the Browns.
They got that mobile bag of milk back there to get all those rushing yards.
And they got the Browns got their entire thing on the COVID list.
I didn't even know that.
So,
man, as far as Mac Jones goes, I think he's surprising everybody with the way he's playing. Like, I know they talked about it, and I know maybe it's just me. I thought he'd be okay.
Yeah.
I didn't think he'd be as good as what he is. I think it's safe to say Jamar Chase is probably going to win Rookie of the Year. And it's crazy to think that Mac Jones, the year that he's having, isn't going to.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, don't count out Najee Harris quite yet. But, yeah, Jamar Chase is on fire right now. Ask Kalen, he'll tell you. I think that what we saw to the Browns' defense against the Bengals showed us a lot for what we might see moving forward. Because that secondary played like we assumed, or I don't want to say we. like the general manager assumed when he drafted it or signed it in. Those guys were playing proper coverage, and they didn't allow anybody to sneak behind them, which obviously eliminates the entire Cincinnati offense because it's just chuck and go. But yeah, that's your boy. That's your boy. Over there. That's your boy.
Yep. He's been chucking.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, Belichick's in the mix. Stefanski looked like he actually learned how to call plays. I think this is going to be an ugly one, like 13-10 or something like that.
Okay.
I mean, I would lean towards the Patriots.
In a game like that, it's the Patriots win.
Yeah.
If it's an ugly game, it's going to be a Patriots win. If they get into a shootout,
yeah,
I think it would be more for the Browns, obviously. But yeah, an ugly football game, that's got Bill Belichick written all over it.
The Patriots are scary right now. Like, obviously, after a year like last year, they're written off. For the last 20 years, they've been scary. They're just a different kind of scary. Like, it's not you're scared that Tom Brady is going to get the ball in the last second. It's, are you tough enough to last the entire game against them right now? Mm-hmm. And the Chargers weren't. And Carolina wasn't. And those are teams that early on in the season we thought were going to be contenders anyway. But Mac Jones being able to move the ball a little bit on...
break ankles. After fumbles and interceptions.
Yeah, but I mean, he was able to move the ball a little bit on a pretty good Carolina defense.
He didn't even get fined for it.
So
it didn't happen.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I would lean towards the Patriots, but I also could just be telling you that so that you pick them and I pick somebody else. Okay. So you don't know.
Okay.
You do not know.
And what was your over/under in the Titans and Saints game?
We have over 40.5.
Okay, yeah.
Which is actually the next game I have on my list here to talk about, which I want... Can you be unbiased for a second?
Okay.
What I'm going to assume...
Can either of you guys ever be unbiased for a second?
You shut your fucking mouth, Chad. I'll put a tally for myself. I'm going to say that the Saints defense is better than the Rams defense, right? Can we agree with that?
I don't know about that.
Saints is better than the Rams defense?
Yeah, I'm not going to say that.
Well, statistically, and I know you want to blow statistics, so...
What, I don't even know.
I put it in PFF.
That's like a big surprise to me if that is actually statistically the way that it is. Like, I feel like Jalen Ramsey's been, like, their pass coverage has been probably one of the best in the league. I don't even know. I mean,
where is the Saints' defensive ranking, Liam?
And
I feel like he did this on purpose, so you probably should let him have this one.
But I don't know. But you were going to say, so the Saints defense. So anyway, you move on to the next one.
So you get a week of film without Derrick Henry, and we saw the Titans won, but we saw how they struggled offensively against the Rams. Would you anticipate more struggle, or do you think that a week later they've got it figured out? Adrian Peterson realizes that you don't run on your tippy toes in the NFL. Jeremy McNichols might get a carry outside of third down.
The last time that the Saints played the Titans, we didn't have Derrick Henry. He sat. And Ryan Tannehill went off. He had a fantastic game. He actually ended up having to finish the game. So that was with Corey Davis. So if we do have a Julio, if we do have an A.J. Brown there without Derrick Henry, I still think we'll be okay. Defensively, Trevor Siemian's not going to put up points. I think that's... there's a really good chance that Fulton comes back this weekend, and with the way that our pass rushes work with the defense.
Do you get commission every time you say his name?
Who, Fulton?
Yeah.
Man, he's one of the higher rated.
I don't think that... We haven't had a show in weeks that his name didn't come up. He hasn't played.
He hasn't been played in 4 weeks. This was 4 weeks.
He has jersey
He was on the IR.
Yeah.
I do love Christian Fulton. He made a fantastic leap, because last year I thought his rookie year, I think he was going to be very good.
Yeah.
Very, very good leap in his second year, Bill taking on like the number ones the whole way through,
right.
Which Jackrabbit cannot do. So
we'll base it on scoring defense, Liam.
ESPN had the Saints over the Rams, and PFF.com has the Saints over the Rams.
Okay.
So I guess for
now,
some
when you
reason...
say over the Rams, what are we talking? Is there like a 0.4 difference here?
So PFF.com, Saints are ranked 4th with a minus 0.112 EPA.
I don't know what that means.
That's PPF style. It's not a real thing. They just make them up.
And then Rams are 13th.
Okay.
Ooh.
So
and then the scoring defense? That's PFF, the one that you don't like.
Yeah. Well, hey, and ESPN did the same thing, but I understand. I was surprised when I saw it too.
I actually didn't realize I knew the Saints defense was good. I didn't realize it was that good.
The games that they've lost have been lower scoring, and the Rams have given up some points to a couple different people. Do they have better overall players? Probably not. That's why we were all surprised by the fact that the Saints have a better statistical defense, and I know stats are king for you.
Oh my god.
Am I wrong?
They are. There's lots of levels to stats. A team can give up 40 points and still be an okay defense if they're giving it the offense is getting the ball up in the 15-yard line.
Stats play for both teams in Kalen's eyes.
I'm saying,
hey, it's good to know.
Pigeonholing.
No, hey, I definitely backed you into a corner, and I knew what the outcome was. But are you concerned about the Titans against the Saints?
Not at all. We're playing at home. We play well at home. We beat the Saints last time without Derrick Henry. Didn't have Julio. We'll be okay.
Chad?
Well, they beat my Bucks. And I think the Bucks are a better team than Tennessee. I will say that confidently. And
The Bucks aren't going to go 17-1.
sure they're not. But I was shocked, and Trevor Siemian moved the ball and did good things against our defense. I don't think is very good right now. We're all banged up.
Pass defense stinks, yeah.
Yeah, we need to get some guys back. But I do think that their defense shut down our offense, and we can run the football, and we can throw the football. We have a phenomenal offensive line. So am I saying that the Saints are going to just bend over and take it from the Titans? No. But I did tell Kalen earlier in this week, I still think that they're probably one of the top teams in the AFC. Even without Derrick Henry, I think they still can win football games.
Yeah.
I think they're just got to win football games kind of in a dirty way, you know what I mean? Grind them out and slow the game down almost. Because you don't have a guy that can just take over a game anymore. And if you're going to ask a guy like A.J. Brown to do that with Ryan Tannehill, you're asking a lot out of both of them.
And that's the thing. I mean, can A.J. Brown fight through the coverage? He's shown that he can, yeah.
Was it Simeon that played you guys?
Yeah.
He came, it was...
The game was over at that point, wasn't it? No?
No.
Not even know.
Simeon came in the second quarter.
Yeah. It was only 7-0 when he came in.
Yeah. So, I mean, Simeon moved the ball. It's not obviously he didn't prepare for a quarterback that could accurately hit passes. But...
He's got two good eyes.
Yeah. I'm not going out on a limb as far to say that the Saints are going to win. But could this be a game that the Titans take too lightly? Knowing that you're probably playing against Trevor Siemian and Taysom Fivehead. And I think that the defense is sneaky good. But, I mean, the Titans are obviously watching film. I know that Vrabel would know that the Saints defense is good. And Kamara's in a little bit of trouble, a little bit of injury trouble. So I think that defensively the Titans will hold up. I don't know. I would take the Titans probably 27-21, something like that. It's going to be closer than you think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You guys have been praying for a loss for 5 weeks, huh?
No, I actually...
Man, I'm on your side. Don't even come at me like that. I can start trashing your boys all
say Guy
week.
Berlin was involved last week. He was praying for a loss last week.
You're playing his team. Of course he's going to.
When it comes down to it, I think it would be nice for the Titans to make it out of wildcard weekend, so I hope you guys get the bye.
Yeah, I threw some dollars on the Titans to win the AFC.
But hey, what'd you get that at?
5.25.
Where'd you bet it?
Cool.
Cool bet, eh?
Cool bet.
Wow, Cool Bet is coming out hot with the odds.
I also wanted, and I told the Rams, I told Liam today, if you want to get a good Super Bowl bet, they're still paying plus 700 on the Rams right now.
Even with Odell?
Yeah, I checked after the signing.
Dang. All right, well, hey, that sounds like something that we're going to have to look into.
Speaking of Braves, though, he's on the competition committee now. The guy who uses those slimy rules, I love what he did with the punt. Remember, he shoot the clock down. But the guy who's going to know the rule book inside and out now, and also be focusing on rules that need to be changed. This is amazing.
Yeah. Wasn't on here. Isn't our next topic. You brought up the competition committee. Should we talk about taunting?
It's the no fun league.
Should we talk about taunting? I'm
going to ask you about it. I was during the game, right?
Please.
Do you actually was it taunting, Shane? Or are you it's a sweet flag that we just got there? Or do you think that was the ref, really, being...
If you're asking me if I believe that is the penalty the NFL wants called, absolutely. Do I believe that the third-string linebacker that got a coverage sack should have done a spin kick in full equipment and ran over to the Steelers sideline?
A spin kick?
Did you not see him get up from the sack? No,
you only watched
the internet part. If you watch the actual game, after he sacks Roethlisberger, he gets up.
Can you show me a spin kick? I would love to see you do a spin kick.
If I do a spin kick, that microphone's going down.
Cassius Marsh, though?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The people that didn't, and I'm not saying that you didn't watch the game. The people that didn't watch the game saw it and they're like, oh, he looked at the sideline. That's it. He got up. He did a full
But
roundhouse.
that wasn't what he got the call for.
He did a full roundhouse spin kick and then ran 40 yards to look into the Steelers sideline.
40 yards. How wide is this? Was a football field?
Well, the football field is the same length as every other NFL football
It's
field.
40 fields wide. Is that he ran
Okay.
40 yards across the field to look at your sideline? He walked 5 steps. And
I know, that's what the internet version is. I'm talking about the real live version. I watched the game.
Harry Fuel, who's on the competition committee, came out with a tweet and with a video explaining why the NFL had there, and he used the word posturing. He had a posture. And the problem with that is that, according to the rule book, taunting has no posture in it. There's 20 rules that include the term posture, and taunting doesn't include it. And they used it in that. And the spin kick, I didn't see the spin, I'll be honest with you, but him walking, the ref, I think, did the whole hip
Did you
check.
see it?
No.
You saw it. You saw the spin kick, right?
Okay,
But that wasn't what
was
was called, though. But that wasn't what the NFL defended even after.
But it wasn't. It's like you tackled somebody, you murdered them, you ripped their head off, and then you ran over to the sideline to show the coach the head.
But that
Like,
play didn't count.
But all of those things are going to factor into it.
But that wasn't what I'm saying. That wasn't what they used, though. They used the whole him walking towards the sideline was the taunt.
Because, like, bro, you already did a bunch of stuff, and was this your first sack of your life?
I think so. I've never even really heard of Cassius Marsh.
No,
I saw him. That guy looks like he looks to be selling drugs in the alley.
Yeah, he's white boy Rick.
He looks like Kalen right now in his hoodie.
Yeah.
In his preference.
Yeah, have you ever seen that movie? Yeah. But what it actually is he was looking at Mike Tomlin because the Steelers just cut him. He was on the Steelers for preseason. He was on the Steelers for the opening game of the season, and they moved on from him because they found some better guys in the practice squad. But all the bullshit that he did off of a coverage sack, hey man, I'm happy for you. You just did the right thing. All you had to do, and the Chicago Bears coaching staff and the Chicago Bears coaches on the sideline, their whole reaction will tell you that let's remove the Steelers fan out of it. Let's remove the internet lover out of it. The Chicago Bears coach, defensive coordinator, grabbed him and said, "What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
That was stupid."
Yeah.
So, after a 6-second coverage sack, he does a spin kick, walks over to the side. Just walk to your own sideline, bro. You get the ball back. You probably win the game.
Maybe. We'll never know.
But that circus are cycled all into, oh, the refs were after the Bears the entire game. Like, no. The adults that were watching the game would disagree because...
Were you actually sitting at the adult table during the game, though? Because I've seen you watch football games.
No, ask Cheryl. I was here, man. Des Bryant and Calvin Johnson would both disagree with the 40-yard catch. That the guy caught it, had 2 feet in the ground, going to the ground, falls on the ground, ball shoots up into the stadium, into like the 15th deck, and the ref's like, no, that's a catch. Yeah, no. First down. Let's go.
It reminded me of the A.J. Brown one. Remember,
Yeah,
you were like,
but-
that's a catch. And I was
Yeah.
like,
But that's
Des
the
and
thing.
Calvin wouldn't be agreeing
That's
with
the
that.
thing. The refs allowed that to go. They allowed a couple really, really shady things to happen. But the Bears fans must be Michigan Wolverines fans. They must be Toronto Maple Leafs fans. They got a big case of the feel sorry for themselves. To Bears fans, I humbly say, go fuck yourself. You guys know absolutely nothing about football if you think that the ref screwed you out of that game.
But back to taunting instead of just one call in the league.
Yeah.
I just think in general the rules gotta go.
Well, the rule has to go probably, but...
Like you're letting full teams run 75 yards down the field to go hang out in front of the Bud Light Celebrate cam.
Yeah.
And that's allowed. When a guy literally recovers a fumble,
How about...
which happens 3 times a game, and that you're going to allow that, but when a guy celebrates a sack or a touchdown or a first down, that's when you're throwing the flag. That's like I think where the misconception comes everywhere.
Yeah, and Jimmy Graham caught a seam ball, stood up, it was like a 25, it was a nice catch, stood up, spiked it, the ball rolled into the end zone. Was there a delay of game called? No. But would the Chicago Bears propaganda machine have you believe that? No. Anyway, I've had enough of that shit. You don't need style points in the NFL, as my man Mike Tomlin would say. Win's a win. Don't leave so much time on the clock for a guy that just tied Tom Brady's all-time fourth quarter comeback record. Just so you know. Just so everyone's aware, Ben Roethlisberger and Tom Brady have the exact same amount of fourth quarter comebacks.
Sounds like a couple more
Tannehill has
rings.
the most since he started in the league. Did you know that?
No, I didn't, but I mean, it makes sense. He's on a shitty Titans team that always has to come from behind.
Why would you give him that?
Yeah.
Like, you knew what you were doing.
Well, I mean, if Ben has
let's
to come
keep-
from behind all the time, I guess they're a great team too. Then, right?
Yeah, they've had some bad teams, but hey, they still win Super Bowls. We got 2 Super Bowl winning quarterbacks coming back this Sunday, pending a test or whatever the fuck the NFL does for that stuff. Russ has a fucked up hand. Aaron Rodgers probably lost like 30 pounds. I don't really know what to expect from it, but what are the expectations of those 2 guys, and what does that game look like for you?
NFC, Chad, you take it away, man.
Would you rather not be able to grip the ball or be coming off of
The flu? I'd rather be coming off the flu.
Yeah, I agree.
I've seen him on the McAfee show twice. He's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I don't think anything's changed in Aaron Rodgers' life. He's been on Zoom calls all week. He's also been in the same offense for 3.5 years. Coming off an MVP season, he's fine. Devontae Adams is going to get his.
Yep.
Aaron Jones is going to get his.
Yep.
Robert Tonyan's going to get his. Seattle's defense is getting better. They're still not good.
Tanyan's gonna get his. He's injured now. He's done
is
for the
he?
year.
Okay.
That hurt my fantasy team,
Oh,
Chad.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
He's like, didn't he blow his
No,
knee out? He's
I
done
don't
for the
know.
year.
No one really cares about the tight end in Green Bay.
I know.
But,
Only Alex fantasy.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, Aaron Rodgers. I honestly I think that's a scary thing. Like a pissed off, rested Aaron Rodgers. That's a scary thing, I think, for any team.
Yeah.
And their defense showed they can play.
The quickest way to get people not cheering for it is get them cheering for you, right?
Yeah,
So
like
go out there and play ball.
I wrote an article about this. It should be out in the next couple days, and it's about how everybody's going to forget that Aaron Rodgers didn't feel well last week because winning changes everything.
Yeah.
You can literally do the most inappropriate things in the world and get arrested and do all these things. But if you win a couple football games, get a couple touchdowns, you're not a bad guy anymore.
Hey, you talk about Tyreek the Freak? Is that?
I'm not. I didn't throw names into this.
Hey,
I don't want to blow. I don't want to tell the whole story yet.
I haven't read the article, but I mean, there's guys, a couple Oklahoma guys that seem like they keep getting themselves in trouble.
Like I've heard a running back punch a girl in the face at a party that no one talks about. So
Yeah, I mean, Joe Mixon's a nice guy, I'm sure.
Alleged.
No, that one wasn't alleged. That was a video. That was on video. That one happened.
That was in like a hot.
DeAndre Swift was
Waffles.
accused of murder this year, and I didn't even know about it.
Yeah, the guy that had the flu is the worst person in the NFL.
Yeah, it's
Did
So
you
that's all
know
I'm
that
gonna
DeAndre
say.
Swift is accused of murder?
No.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting the Ray Lewis treatment. Good for him. If you had to pick a winner in that game,
I want Packers.
yeah, I mean, Packers.
They're getting a lot of players back this week. I think Bakhtiari's probably coming back.
Yeah.
Judon, I think, is coming back too.
Yeah.
Jair is probably a week away, I think, but they've
You know
got a
what?
lot of talent come back.
They need it, and last week they kind of got the view into the future. It wasn't lovely as they hoped it would be. I think that we talked a little bit on Monday. Aaron Rodgers is going to tell them the price, and they're going to pay it. Right? Like, he's not... If you were to put a percentage on it today, what is the percentage that Aaron Rodgers plays for the Packers next year?
96%.
Ooh.
Oh, I'm going to be the devil's advocate. I want to be the 80%. I feel like the way you got treated in the offseason.
Devil's advocate is 80%?
Well, I mean, like
That's
a lot of
pretty good.
people would say 100%. I'd be like, yeah. Okay.
No, the best thing that happened to him was that Jordan Love sucks.
Yeah.
Like,
The
that's what I
guy,
mean.
come out and say, I was talking about with him, he's like, well, like, their special teams didn't come through. First off, fuck you. What quarterback plays for field goals? Like, if that's what you're judging your offense on, well, we had a good game. Our field goal kickers missed 2 field goals. You scored 6 fucking points.
Boys are spicy right now.
Like, don't tell me that that's your quarterback of your future against a
Yeah.
shitty fucking Kansas City defense.
Whew. Chad is cranked up to 100 right now.
I'm not a huge Aaron Rodgers fan,
Shit.
but he's the best. Like, I think he's actually the best quarterback in football.
James
All
Arnold's
these-
saying he's going to Denver.
I just think it takes 2 to tango. I agree with you. I think that maybe Green Bay's going to start throwing the house at him. But he may be one of those guys that just says, like I said, after Tom Brady walked away, where he can say, I can walk now too. If he can do it, I can do it. He's had... Now he's going to say, sit in your pick and revel in it now.
Well,
After
he's
you got
gonna-
one game with Jordan Love, you're going to have the next 2 or 3 years.
He's gonna Brett Favre the fuck out of this shit.
I
And
think
I
so.
love it.
Yeah, well, the thing, like, he's still under contract, right?
For
It's
2
just,
more
years.
it's
So
just
he's
guaranteed
got
money.
going
So he has to be at the mercy of what they want. Does Denver make sense? I think Denver makes a little bit of sense.
Any team that has weapons makes sense.
Yeah, well, Aaron Rodgers could throw it 70 yards without the altitude.
I think-
Imagine with the altitude, he might be able to throw from the goal line to goal line.
I know I mentioned at the very end of last show, San Francisco, it seems like a silly pick. But like with the connection with Shanahan and LaFleur being old friends,
Yeah.
there could be something there. We all know that he wanted to get back to San Francisco at some point in his career. He's always mentioned that. That's his home. He'd like to play in front of his home team. They could package some sort of Garoppolo picks, and I just don't think it's out of the realm of a
I
possibility.
just don't think San Francisco can win anymore.
Yeah.
And I've been high on them forever.
And anymore is such a bold statement.
They
'cause
had
they
one
haven't
good
really won
year,
in the first place.
and I thought they were going to be just rolling the dice like it was the 90s and 80s all over again.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wrong. But I don't think there's enough pieces there outside of Deebo Samuel to make that team win.
Yeah, and
The defense is done now.
They just released Jalen Hurd. People that didn't watch college football probably have no idea who the fuck he is, but guy from Baylor that they had high hopes on. He was like the Swiss Army knife.
Ayuk sucks.
Yeah, can't get him on the field. Ayuk, I think Ayuk will turn things around, but the 49ers in general suck. If I was Aaron Rodgers and I had the choice, I would say fuck you to the 49ers because you should have drafted me in the first place. You picked Alex Smith over me.
My phone just recorded everything you said. It said I would say fuck you to the 49ers. It just read it to me.
Perfect. Yeah. Mark it down. Yeah, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, whether he's a Packer or not, I think that we're all kind of on agreement that the Packers roll this weekend, and there isn't enough Russ magic, and you have to be able to grip the ball with all 5 fingers to be able to throw a moonshot.
Yeah.
What about Dak Prescott and the boys bouncing back?
NFC, Chad, take it away.
I don't know who they're playing, so.
I don't think it's any problem.
They're playing Atlanta.
Yeah, I think that again. I don't think it's gonna be a problem for them. Atlanta has shown up in a few games. I don't think Denver is a decent defense that shows up when they want to show up, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna take last week's loss and say that it's what we're gonna see coming forward from Dallas. Dak's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
He had a couple weeks off and he just had to get bounced back.
I know, we talk about trap games.
Yeah.
And I don't even like the term trap game because I think every team in the NFL is good. Their players wouldn't be there.
They'll get paid.
Yeah. But I definitely do think that you overlook teams. And if you have Denver, then you have Atlanta. There's probably a good chance they're looking ahead.
Mm-hmm.
They've been untouchable so far. They lost one game to, at that point, the Buccaneers, who before the season started, they were probably the favorite to win the NFC.
Right.
So I think for them, they're rolling on all cylinders. They got beat bad, and it's almost like good teams need that. Not one.
Right.
If it happens 2-3 times, that's a sign of weakness, and it shows you there's problems. But when your only loss is you competed against one of the best teams in the NFL, and then you get lit up 8 weeks later, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And so I do think they're going to bounce back. Dak's going to be dialed in. They have weapons everywhere, and their defense is improving. I did see Randy Gregory might not play, so that could hurt.
He got a calf injury. He's out for a few weeks.
So he's out then?
Yeah.
So it all depends if Trayvon Diggs stops taking shots at footballs and just plays defense. I think it's going to be a big difference. But Atlanta doesn't have anybody that plays out wide. All their weapons are on the inside. So I think he plays inside, though.
No, he's actually played over 80% of his snaps this year been outside.
They keep trying to split him out. Yeah,
they
do
straight up
different.
try to make him into what was that tight end that the New Orleans had a long time ago? They made into a Marcus Colston.
Yeah.
They're really trying to make him into a faster Marcus Colston for sure.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, yeah, he's a good player. Cordell Patterson is good. I think Matt Ryan has been outperforming people's expectations, but the loss of Calvin Ridley, they literally don't have a run game if it's not like their offensive weapon, which, I mean, in the NFL, if you still don't have a position, obviously you're valuable to your team, but like you're not really, you're not the sexy pick for any other team. This guy could be nominated for comeback player of the year. On the Atlanta Falcons, it's not happening. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. I do think that the Cowboys bounce back. I think the 8.5 points is too much. That's why we only took them at 3.5 for our boost. But I'm pretty confident to say that they're going to win. Any other NFL stuff before we move on? I didn't see Kelly jump on, but we still got some college football stuff to talk about.
No.
NFL, I'm good.
All right. Well, we're still counting down for kickoff. It's Ravens, Dolphins. It's in Miami. Anything could happen. I think that we're all pretty much decided that the Ravens are going to win this one. But any surprises coming out of any of the rankings that dropped? I mean, I was a little this is why I was kind of hoping Mike was going to be here, because I was a little bit pissed, not on the ranking of Michigan versus Michigan State, but the explanation. So Michigan State 7, Michigan 6. I actually thought Michigan State should have been 8, irrelevant. But for the committee to come out and say Michigan's the better team. Well, that didn't really pan out when they played each other. And the only reason that they're ranking Oregon where they are is because Oregon beat Ohio State. So why do the rankings head-to-head match if you're a Pac-12 team, but not if you're a Big Ten team? I have answers, but I'm curious why you guys think.
Well, the Pac-12 team is because the only team they're going to fucking play this year.
Yeah.
So they have to use that as their only argument.
Right.
The Big Ten, there's teams all over the place. Teams that aren't supposed to be winning are winning games.
Right.
As Purdue. They could be knocking on another one this week if it happens.
They got Ohio State, right?
Yeah, right?
That's exactly who I think might be the upset this week.
Like, literally, you think about it. That team could go 8-4 and beat 3 top 5 teams. Mm-hmm. That is disgusting.
And I mean, they found themselves into the rankings because of what
who they beat, right?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, with the Pac-12, that's not happening.
No.
So I think that's like it's the only argument for a Pac-12 team is that we beat a Big Ten team, so they have to use that, or else if not, then they're sitting back at 8 or 9.
Yeah.
I still come back to the Pac-12 isn't like I think they made a lot of strides this year. Like beginning of the year, man, we made fun of them a lot, but like their top-heavy teams are actually good teams. Like,
I'll always make fun of them.
Yeah, it's the Pac-12. They really since USC was really dominant. They really haven't made any noise in that conference. But like the top 4 teams are teams that really could go head-to-head with a lot of teams in the league.
Their next best team is Utah. They're 6-3.
But there seems like they're surprised. Like I've talked about UCLA, where like at any given night, I think UCLA can win a game.
Hey, UCLA's made me some money this year, so I'm not
even Cal.
Upset.
Like any given night, I think Cal can get a weird win at it sometimes.
Cal's game got canceled this week because of Uncle COVID, but
yeah.
This like the team in there that no one talks about, and I told Chad about it, and it's a team that I could see Spencer Rather transferring to is Arizona State. Their quarterback right now is either a first or a second round pick, and he's gonna be moving out of there. The roster is not perfect, but you're going against subpar competition, and if you were trying to build a draft stock, yeah, why not go to the Pac-12? But yeah, I mean the Pac-12. To me, at 3, overrated. It's literally the only way that they could potentially keep Ohio State where they're at and keep Michigan and Michigan State where they're at is because of these rankings. And ultimately what they want, because the committee doesn't give a shit that Oregon's in it, but they definitely care that Georgia's in it, Alabama's in it, and Ohio State's in it. So how do you put Ohio State in it when they've lost a game at home? You overrank the team that they lost to, and you overseed the 2 teams that Ohio State still has to play, Michigan State and Michigan. And you continue to put them where they need to be so that the resume for Ohio State at the end of the season looks fantastic. And they're probably going to go up against a Wisconsin team in the Big Ten championship game. They will murder those guys. And then it's just a clean walk in. The teams that are getting affected and hurt in all this, like, I'm going to ask you guys the path for the Bearcats in a second. And then the upsets, but the team that's getting completely screwed in all this is Oklahoma. I don't know what the committee has against Oklahoma. Some Oklahoma booster banged one of the committee men's wives.
Hey, I respect that.
Hey, he cost his team, and they're in tough shape right now. For them to still be ranked 8th after Michigan and Michigan State have both lost, and Michigan State's loss was to an unranked Purdue team, who's now ranked, I guess. Oklahoma hasn't lost to anybody. They still got Baylor, they still got Iowa State, and they still got Oklahoma State to play. But it doesn't look good for them.
I know. I just, man, maybe it's because I'm biased, I don't like Oklahoma, but like I just feel like there are 5 that are hanging around a bunch of 2s.
Okay,
you know
so now if
so we think they're a friggin' 9.
if Texas is Oklahoma, where do you sit?
That's the way that I view them. Like, I'm sorry, I'm in the Big 12 conference. I feel like I could say there's just no defense. There's no team there that really. You guys mentioned Baylor. I still don't think Baylor's like got a lot of. They've been living on laurels for the last decade. It feels almost.
So like, but if Texas is where Oklahoma is, you're saying the same thing?
No.
Man, the Big 12 isn't good, but like I've openly said that for a long time.
Well, we've all said they can't play defense. We've all made that joke forever.
Yeah.
So
then coming back to it, like I'm gonna come back to again to Oregon here. Oregon does have a massive fan base. Just talking about as far as like
you can't tell me Oregon's a bigger fan base than Oklahoma.
I'm not saying the bigger fan base, but I mean this could also be something that can grow the game out west. Like if you're talking about trying to get people watching the game and what brings money to the sport, you're right. Oklahoma's going to bring a lot of money, but exposure and bringing it out to the West Coast fans who probably might even tune into East Coast teams playing. Right? Maybe they're just done with it. Oregon having the jersey connection with Nike, with Phil Knight and everything too, that they're always going to bring something cool to the field too, right? So I feel like the committee might not be totally hung up on not having Oregon there. Like there's a good reason to have them there, and again, the Pac-12, in my opinion, still kind of made a little bit of strides this year, so maybe that kind of helps their conference too.
Now, is Oklahoma, and I guess Texas by association, are they being punished for trying to make a super conference?
I think that there's certainly some people that are saying, like, don't be floating there, and they're going to enjoy Texas being bad for the next few years. Like that's what's really it's going to come down to. The Big 12 is going to enjoy that. And we're talking about Cincinnati here in a minute. Cincinnati's moving to the Big 12, are they not?
Yes.
And there's a reason they're doing that. They're having a great time beating up on no-name teams right now.
But they're not even beating them up. They're barely winning. That's
why
they should be.
But when I say beat up, they're stacking wins. Now they're going to get to go to a conference that they have teams that have names but aren't good teams still. You might as well have the same level of talent competition they're playing as it is now, but because they're a team like TCU, they get recognized, right? And I just don't. I think that's what's happening right now, unfortunately, with Oklahoma. And I, being biased, not liking Oklahoma as being my rival, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I'm cool with it.
Well, I mean, on that basis, what needs to happen for a future Big 12 team in Cincinnati to get in? Like, give me a scenario in which they can somehow jump from 5 ahead.
Cincinnati needs losses to happen. And if they're good, I think it's going to be one of those things, even for the Big 12 going down the road, like with Oklahoma and Texas leaving, your two, on paper, biggest games, and media-wise, biggest games are now gone.
Yeah.
The Big 12 just became the AAC, whatever the hell it's called, that Cincinnati just plays in. Mm-hmm. It just lost its luster right there.
Mm-hmm. Well, they got the BYUs and a couple other teams that are coming in, but I see what you're saying.
And it's just one of the, if you don't run the table in that conference, you're not going to get in.
Yeah.
And Cincinnati, like, their biggest downfall is they cannot lose a game. They can't even stumble.
Right.
Because, like, yes, they're compiling wins right now. But like we said, like in college, you need style points. And I'm assuming that's what has to be holding Oklahoma back, because they barely won some games earlier in the season that they should have beat up on some teams. Yeah. They almost lost to West Virginia.
Yeah.
They almost lost to Kansas till the fourth quarter.
And and people that play at Kansas are people who like literally can't play anywhere else.
Yeah, like, you're getting 1-star recruits at Kansas.
Yeah, for football.
Like some kids are going to play Division II.
Yeah.
And going to the MAC before they go to Kansas.
Yeah.
Right.
So like. Yeah, Oklahoma is not winning style points, so I get it. So how can you put Cincinnati in when they're playing these teams week in and week out and only doing the exact same thing?
Yeah. Right.
Notre Dame's not going to be in because their only loss is at Cincinnati. Notre Dame has no hope of making the playoffs unless 8 teams in front of them lose.
Right.
Because now a lot of those teams in front of them have one loss already.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean the scenario where Georgia beats Alabama in the SEC championship game,
that opens doors for everybody if that happens, because you cannot put a 2-loss Alabama team in.
Now, rankings aside right now, are you putting in an undefeated Oklahoma team or an undefeated Bearcats team, assuming that they both win their conference championship?
Over a 2-loss who? Bama?
Yeah. Or do they get in at all?
I want to know what's going to happen if, like, Oregon loses in the Pac-12. Or if Ohio State loses one more game. Because if both those teams lose a game, then what?
Right.
And we're talking about opening doors. Like, if Ohio State loses 2, Alabama loses 2, and Oregon loses 2. Obviously, massive hypotheticals.
Right.
Who goes in? That's the other question. Cincinnati has to go in. Oklahoma has to go in. But if you're punishing these teams by keeping them out as it is, who are you actually going to put in? Michigan State, Michigan? Well, one of those teams, Michigan's probably going to have 2 losses.
Yeah.
So they're out. MSU, they're going to have a 1-loss team, but they're not going to play. They might not play in the Big Ten championship.
Well, if they're a 1-loss team,
I guess they would.
They would get in,
right? So they'd be in. But the doors just open everywhere.
Yeah.
If you get a couple 2-loss teams in there, then could you imagine those New Year's 6 games with like those 3 teams?
The New Year's 6 is going to be a little bit more interesting this year for me than most years past because of the games that we think we're going to see.
I'll backtrack a little bit and say that I think that Oklahoma also has a disservice here. There's no way they can really get above Cincinnati. Like, really. Unless, like, if they both, like, win out in this way, you can't obviously have somebody leapfrog Cincinnati last minute. But, like, competition, I do also have to say, while I've been sitting here beating up on the Big 12, Cincinnati hasn't played anybody competition-wise. They just stacked wins.
Yeah, I mean, they beat Notre Dame, and like that was a big win, but I think it was too early. But Baylor is the number 13 team. So if Oklahoma at 8 can crush Baylor, that looks good. That looks good on paper. You'd also have the Oklahoma State game.
I feel like when we were just talking about like fluffing up like points for like because they're sticking around leaving conference or whatever. I think Baylor's one of those teams. Like I said, they've been kind of living on their roles since RG3's been. They had a couple of good seasons, but I feel like their team right now that I feel is only getting ranked because hey, you're sticking around in the Big 12. We're gonna help you out a little bit.
Yeah, I mean they had Bryce Petty after RG3 left. They were okay, nothing great. I mean they lost in the Cotton Bowl to Connor Cousins or Connor Cook, but. That's okay.
I had to make sure you got that in there, eh?
I mean their names are close. What playoff contender? So call it one of the teams from the 9 rankings that we put out. Who is on upset alert? Like who's going down this week? Because someone's going down.
So Chad mentioned earlier. I think I'm totally agreeing with you on that one. That Penn State the Ohio State and Purdue game, and then the other one I'm looking at there is Michigan losing to Penn State. Like, those are, Big Ten games, you can never really bet on who's going to win that game. And Michigan's is due for a flop right now against a team that's not as good as them. And Penn State isn't as good as them. They're a good team, but they aren't as good as Michigan. And I think Michigan probably can undervalue that team and lose.
Yeah, I mean, because Kalen's a fucking asshole. He took all the picks that everyone was going to make. So, I mean, I was going to say Penn State beating Michigan, too, because it's in Penn State. I mean, even, like, a highly ranked Michigan team the way that they are, they're only a 1-point favorite on the road. I'm not sure if they're battle-tested enough. Is Penn State that much worse than the Michigan State team that took it to them? I don't think so.
Now, what do you think is more likely, Purdue winning or Penn State winning?
Penn State winning.
Penn State winning is the more likely win. Not talking you being biased against Michigan?
No, because I hate Ohio State too. I hate them both equally. I think.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought that hierarchy was that definitely Michigan was number 1.
No, they're both just really, really deep into hatred.
Okay, all right.
I just went through them all right now, the top 25 teams, and
Kalen's a dick, right?
What's that?
Kalen's a dick for taking all the...
Yeah, you're like him. Here.
You said it. I agree with you the first one, so you can dive deeper.
Well, yeah, I think the other one would be like, prime example is Oklahoma has Baylor this week.
Yeah.
That has to be the most important game this week, if you think about it,
Mm-hmm.
as far as conferences go, because whoever wins that game is the 1 seed.
Right.
Going out.
Yeah.
So they have to. I think that's what the most important game. And like Oklahoma, once again, they haven't won with style.
Yeah.
They've barely beat some bottom tier teams in the conference, and now you're gonna go play one of your higher tier teams. Like, yeah, you're gonna put yourself in some trouble there. Mm-hmm. If you don't win, if you need to win this one big, your only hope of leapfrogging some of these teams is you gotta stomp on some throats. Just piling a win isn't good enough anymore.
Yeah, and the good thing for us, we get to watch it all happen, and we get to talk about it again on Monday.
Yeah.
No repercussions for us.
Yeah. Final thoughts before we sign off here? Just feels good to be in person.
Yeah, it does feel good. No, I'm feeling good, man. I keep coming back to hockey. My Devils are doing hot right now. They beat the Panthers, man.
We know you're feeling good.
I don't care about your Devils or the hockey. I tried so hard last year.
Yeah.
I think I lasted like 3 weeks.
Well, you care.
I've had marriages last longer than my love for hockey.
And less time.
And less time.
Jeez.
Only the second one.
Yeah. Chad's got an affinity for West Coast hockey, and it's the far, far West Coast hockey. And we'll let him talk about that one day after if the Olympics actually get themselves started. But
yeah, this game tonight, I think, unfortunately, we're kind of counting it down, and I think we're just going to watch it beat down. And I think it shows how much the Dolphins have fallen off and how much they miss Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And
Brisket ain't bringing it home tonight.
Nah, he's toast. Another good thing for at least myself, I might be the only person that watches college basketball before March. But college basketball started this week.
Texas got to win.
Texas got to win. Texas actually has a really good team.
Number 4, baby.
Yeah, they have a really good team. Michigan State went down to Kansas, but I saw some pretty good things out of them.
Oh, you lost? Oh, I didn't even know that.
Well, Kansas is number 3. I mean, Kansas is a good team, but I am excited to have that back. I'm excited to pair that up with football and hockey.
Joe Cool's beer.
I mean, Joe Cool's beer, kitchen sink pizza, everything's all good.
Yeah.
We always check in with our friends at CoolBet, but let's go before we get kickoff here. Let's get everyone ready for kickoff. Cheers, boys. I know you guys aren't drinking anything other than water.
Heard it.
And we'll see you Monday. Monday's virtual though.
There we are.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.